great spirit each year as we come together to celebrate the life and work and values of Martin Luther King Jr. and of our own, those of us who follow in his footsteps, trying to continue the work. Let's begin with a couple of quick acknowledgments. But first, we should probably have the student welcome, shouldn't we? Come on up. And this is Kalia Lord Aaron. Very good. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a lovely breakfast. Thank you again for all the kitchen people that worked so hard and everyone else that had a part in making that. It's so wonderful for the community to all be gathered today and celebrate the life of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
I should take a lesson from that. Well done, well done. Okay. So, Ellen is going to make her way down to the piano, and as she does, let's acknowledge some people. First, let's thank our State Senator Joe Comerford for being here this morning, and our State Representative Mindy Dahm, who will be participating in the program. And now let's thank and ask them to rise, all of those who are elected to office here in the great community of Amherst. Please rise, town councilors, school committee members, and let's stay standing, and let's add to that our town staff who work so hard, our town manager, Paul, and Chris from the planning department, and so many others. And the police officers. I think I saw the fire chief and the police chief here. Let's acknowledge them. Thank you so much. And while we're acknowledging people who serve, let's thank our Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club that joins us every year. These are men and women who serve our country. We thank you for your service and your sacrifice, and we welcome you once again this year joining us here. And so now I would invite you all to rise as our former state representative and neighbor, Ellen Story, leads us at the piano. Lift every voice and sing. recognize the guy who cannot be missed, our District Attorney, Dave Sullivan. I don't think you've missed this ever since you've been elected, so thanks for being here every single year. Let's also recognize the people who organized this day. Please rise, the members of the Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast Committee. Please rise and be recognized. Thank you very much for bringing us together each year. But listen, for those of you who've been here a long time, you know how hard they work to create a beautiful event for this community. But you know the average tenure on that board is at least 10 years. And as we go through transition of leadership in our community, people are stepping forward and running for office. We need some of you to step forward, whether you're new in town and looking for a way to become engaged, or you've recently retired and looking for something to do on those mornings when you get up and say, what am I going to do today? Or whether you've lived in this community for a long time and said, it's now my turn. Please call Richmond or any of the other members of the board and volunteer. Many hands make light work, and these folks could really use a boost of new blood. So once more, let's thank them. And now we have the pleasure of the Amherst Area Gospel Choir, directed by Jacqueline Wallace, will now sing with us.
Woo! Are you a bass?
Today I am. God is based every
All right. Ready?
Ready? Swing low, sweet
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
singing that.
Swing low, sweet chariot,
Stand up your right.
coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot.
You are going to be singing "Oh, when the saints."
When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. Sing, sing, sing. I'm gonna shout, shout, shout. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout, oh, praise the Lord. When the gates are open wide, I'm gonna sing by Jesus' side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout, praise the Lord. I'm gonna sing,
I'm gonna shout.
I'm gonna shout, shout,
I'm
shout.
gonna sing. Shout.
I'm gonna shout, oh, praise the Lord.
With those gates.
When the gates are open
I'm
wide,
gonna
I'm gonna sing by Jesus' side. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna shout, oh, praise the Lord.
Excellent. Now, when they start singing, you gotta keep singing this time. This time, everybody's gonna keep singing. Swing low. Well, let's hear it for Jackie Wallace. Thank you so much, all of you singers. Now, this gives me real pleasure to introduce your state representative, Mindy Don. Mindy has lived here for some time. She was the head of the Amherst Survival Center for 5 years. And the Amherst Survival Center, as I'm sure you know, is one of the finest survival centers, certainly in the state, probably in the country. And then Mindy decided to run for state rep. And I thought that was the most wonderful news that I had ever heard. And so Mindy is now the state rep for the 3rd Hampshire District, Amherst, Pelham, Shutesbury, part of Cranby. And they love her in Boston. As you can imagine, everybody loves Mindy. So now it's time for Mindy to come up and give some awards. Mindy.
So I believe I am giving the Norma Jean Anderson Award to Ms. Lamika McGee. So I have some things to share with you about Ms. Lamika McGee, and allow me to also say I am so happy to be here with everybody, the award recipients, the Honorable Ellen Story, the Honorable Stan Rosenberg, and all of you honorables, to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday together. This is one of the most special things I think that happens in Amherst, and I'm really happy to be here. But let's get back to Ms. McGee. The reason why she's getting this award is because she creates a respectful community that promotes justice and equity in her classroom. And there are some examples that I would like to share with you. She implements a disciplined style that includes developing relationships and helping students learn the skills they need to make positive changes. She develops relationships with her students and their families. If, after talking to them on more than one occasion, a student continues to behave in the same negative manner, Ms. McGee goes the extra mile. She reaches out to the student's family, sometimes traveling to their homes. She builds a connection with the student's parent or parents and collaborates with the family in supporting their student to make good choices. She also teaches students strategies for improving their learning and behaviors. So not only expecting the outcomes, but how do we get there? For example, instead of sending students who are in constant motion in the classroom to the office, she educates them about regulation methods they can independently implement. So some of the information I got about her that I'd like to share is some of the comments from her current students and her current colleagues, because they really go to speak to this why she's getting the award. So some of the comments from students include, she is always very helpful and is able to provide a solution to struggling students. Another one, I love how she adapts to help everyone's needs and always provides stimulating environment for kids. And I love that one in particular because it's really about a teacher that's not using a cookie cutter approach, but is really approaching each child as an individual. And also, I like this one, when I whine to her, who's so much self-awareness, right? When I whine to her, she doesn't take it personally, and she helps me. And I think that's such a great response to not only your students, but to everybody. I also want to share these comments from colleagues, because they really substantiate and they support exactly what I just said in terms of the description. Mika is a generous colleague. She's happy to brainstorm and troubleshoot ideas about what works for kids. She gives of her time for the profession in so many ways, to the statewide union, to CAUP, many in district professional development committees, and to an organization to help young men of color join to become teachers. And this one in particular, Mika sees the positive in every student and works tirelessly to help them get what they need and to help teachers understand their strengths and challenges. She won't hesitate to point out if things are unfair, and she stands up for what she thinks is right. Last one, and then I'm going to give you the award, Mika. Mika continues to move the district in developing methods for retaining staff of color. She understands that hiring people of color is not sufficient. So please, let's applaud. I'm honored to give you the award.
Well, I'll start off not talking about me, but talking about Mindy and the work that is being done at the Survival Center is wonderful, and we have a connection even though we don't know it by my daughter. Has been a volunteer there for a couple of years, and she's been a faithful volunteer. So I'll start talking about someone else other than me. And I probably won't talk about myself at all. Thank you for talking about me though. I just want to say that working here has been so wonderful for me, to be in a place where we have such great colleagues who are willing to come together and to solve problems. I feel this way about children. Children will be children. They're middle schoolers. They're trying to figure it out themselves all of the time. And it's really important just to, number one, the first thing is just love. If we can just love and always approach in that way, just to love the individual first, regardless of what their challenges might be, what they look like, what kind of background they come from. Love and joy. That doesn't mean I won't discipline you, but I'm disciplining you out of love and just joy. It's always a much greater and better, greater experience when you can come into the classroom and you feel like you belong there, and you know that the teacher loves you, and even if she's tough on you, she loves you, and that she has your best interests at heart, and that it's a place of joy where you can smile and relax. Yes, you still have to do the work, but smile and relax and just enjoy the experience of learning. So that is what I try to create in my classroom. That is what I try to create in the building. That means that we need people from all different backgrounds. Because we have children from all different backgrounds, and I can share my background, but we need others to add to that. And together we can educate these children. This is one of the best school districts in the country. I truly believe that. This is one of the best middle schools in the country. I truly believe that. And I appreciate that the community is so involved. Sometimes it can seem tough for us teachers here in this building, but I appreciate that we have involved community members. But I would just say for everyone to think of two things in every way that you approach, especially educating children, is love and joy. Thank you.
I have to do something now that's not my favorite thing to do, which is admit that I made a mistake. I completely skipped over our speaker for today. I hope he didn't leave in annoyance. Our speaker is wonderful, is Paul Wiley. He graduated from Bowdoin College, got his master's in counseling from the University of Connecticut. He receives K-12 school administrator licensures in both Connecticut and Massachusetts. He has lived here since 1982, and I first knew him when he was principal of the Crocker Farm Elementary School. He was principal of Crocker Farm for 18 years. He has been noted all over the place. He was an educational consultant for the Massachusetts elementary school principals, of course. He was vice president of the ABC House in Amherst, and he was on the national board of directors for the Association for Conflict Resolution. I can't think of anybody better to do conflict resolution than Paul Wiley. He's currently the interim head of school for the Common School and is a member of the National Association of Elementary School Principals. So please join me in welcoming, a little late, but still here, Paul Wiley.
It's amazing how, as I'm thinking about what to say today, started coming together at home, how much of it played out here already today, including what just happened. I'll explain that later. Can I take this off? So you say yes, I was going to take it off anyway. First of all, I want to go back just a little bit, and I want to personally acknowledge the Amherst area gospel choir. Every time I hear them present, and I don't want to call it sing necessarily, when they present and they bring a message to us, it's always heartfelt. It's always meaningful, and it always makes an impact on me. And I think it does for everybody else too. And for those of you who don't realize this, they work very hard. And for someone who really can't sing that well, I really appreciate what you do. So thank you again for all of that. The other piece of that is I knew my dear sister Jacqueline Wallace could sing. I knew that for quite some time. What I didn't know was my other sister, right here, could play the piano as well as she did. So when I saw the two of them up there, I said, wow, okay, this is going to be a very special day. I can feel it already. So I want to thank them both for bringing that additional message to us this morning. So let me start. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First, I'd like to express my humble gratitude to the Dr. Martin Luther King Board and its members for extending the invitation to speak at this very celebrated annual event. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to address a number of groups in a number of different venues, both small and large, but this one has a particular significance for me as an African-American man, as an educator, and as a resident here in our town of Amherst. I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I hope what I have to say holds meaning for you. I hope you leave with something to think about as you go forward. Before I go any further too, I also want to give another thank you to the board and its membership for bringing us all here together as they do on a yearly basis. So thank you again very much. Second, I need to be transparent about how I came to be invited to speak. Many of you know my wife and life partner, Dr. Patricia Romney. She was, in fact, the committee's original choice. Transparency is important. Unfortunately, she realized, on a more serious note, that because of a personal family matter that came up, she would not be able to fulfill this obligation. She does ask me to send her personal wishes and blessings for a successful event. Somehow my name rose to the top as a replacement. Not sure how. One conversation led to another, and here I am, your speaker. I'm a pretty good speaker, I think. So I think Richmond and the members of the committee were willing to take a chance here. Pat sets a high bar for delivering a speech, which brings out the competitive nature in me, so I'm going to work extra hard today to be more like her. Again, I want to thank the committee for their work and what makes this, to make this event as great as it is, and I want to thank them for their yearly commitment to honoring not only Dr. Martin Luther King, but also the yearly commitment to honoring students in our broader community who have excelled in many different ways and have performed at high levels, exhibiting the qualities of leadership, commitment, tenacity, persistence, dedication, and enduring faith, which will serve them well now and in the future. Dr. King exhibited qualities over the course of his own life. And I'd like to assume that his legacy has left a positive and abiding impact on all of our lives, including the lives of our celebrated students. On this day, as we celebrate the work of Dr. King, this man of faith and determination, who set the standard for how to commit to the fight for worldwide social justice, we also celebrate the work we continue to do here in our community to ensure his efforts to create a world where social justice, equity, equality, peace, and nonviolence are givens and not hopes. And we hope this work is not seen as done in vain. In preparing for this keynote presentation, I asked Richmond how much time I had to speak before the community. He said 20 minutes. I asked him if he wanted to see the address before I presented it. He said no. I asked him if there are any particular things the board would like for me to highlight on this very special occasion. Again, he said no. Then he said, say what you want to say. I said, great. We talked a bit about logistics, exchanged a few cordialities, and we ended the conversation. When I got off the phone, I said to myself, wait a minute, he said 20 minutes. Then he said, say what you want to say? They didn't go together. I grew up in an African-American Episcopal church. Oh yeah, you know. That explains quite a bit. And I know that everyone's entire day could easily be shot if you tell an African-American man who has grown up in the African-American Episcopal Church tradition to get up in front of people and say what he wants to say. That could go on forever. So as I contemplated that, I looked at the names of the members on the MLK board, and I know most of them quite well. I realized quickly that going over 20 minutes might jeopardize some long-standing and perfectly good friendships. So this address will be under 20 minutes, if for no other reason than to preserve my connections to people I hold dear to my heart. Before I tell you the main points I want to cover, the main points I want to talk about today, I want you to know that whenever I'm in a situation like this, I'm reminded that I stand on the shoulders of those who came before me. I also stand beside and admire and respect those who are with me right now. And I realize I stand in front of those who I may have an impact on in their future lives. So contextually, this is how I think about how I am when I'm in this community. For a few minutes, I want to speak about education and the importance of education in our lives. I've had the privilege of being involved in professional education for 47 years, serving as a teacher, guidance counselor, program director, athletic coach, and school leader. I've come to appreciate and understand how valuable an education can be, especially in these times and in this world. I want to take a moment to reflect more broadly on the subject of an education because so many people have one, especially in Amherst. People are educated. People are educated in a number of different ways. What I've come to understand and believe over time is that those who are educated are often portrayed as highly intelligent. But sometimes something is missing. And that thing is character. I'd like to offer my thoughts today on the subject of character, and share with you a definition. Character to me consists of three elements: love, thank you, Jamaica, humanity, and purpose. Love, humanity, and purpose. These three elements form the underpinnings of many of the things Dr. King believed in, and they were the underpinnings of his mission to create a just society. Dr. King states, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically." He goes on to say, "Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." I repeat, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. How many of you know a lot of intelligent people who aren't too smart? You get where I'm going. So let's take a look at my three elements and their connection to a true education. Again, I'm blessed to be in the presence of a highly intelligent audience. I also believe that we all have character, as I've taken some liberties to define here today. Our hearts are loving. We believe in humanity. And we all have strong purpose in life. This morning, I'd like for us to think about the question, do I have a true education? Do I have a true education? To help us answer this question, I'd like to examine the three elements more closely. You can say to yourself, yes, I'm intelligent, and I have character, but is love embedded in my character? So first, what's love got to do with it? Yes, I asked the question, and it has nothing to do with Tina Turner at the moment. Dr. Martin Luther King helps answer that question. As I read this quote on love, I'd like for you to take a moment and think about it. Think about your intelligence and your character, and to what degree love is embedded in your character. Dr. King says, "I am convinced that love is the most durable power in the world. It is not an expression of impractical idealism, but of practical realism. Far from being the pious injunction of a utopian dream, love is an absolute necessity for the survival of our civilization. To return hate to hate does nothing but intensify the existence of evil in the universe. Someone must have sense enough and religion enough to cut off the chain of hate and evil, and this can only be done through love. So ask yourselves, do I have a true education? Does this element of love exist in the body of my character? You can say to yourself, yes, I'm intelligent and I have character, but is humanity embedded in my character? So second, what's humanity got to do with it? For those of you who are wondering, this is clearly not a Tina Turner song. Dr. Martin Luther King helps me answer this question too. As I read this quote on humanity, I'd like you to take a moment and think about it. Think about your intelligence, your character, and to what degree humanity is embedded in your character. Our dear Dr. King says, make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation for your country, and a finer world to live in. Ask yourself, do I have a true education? Does this element of humanity exist in the body of my character? Finally, what's purpose got to do with it? This could actually be a Drake song, but I'm not sure. Our celebrated fighter for social justice, Dr. Martin Luther King, spoke about purpose in this way. And I'm taking some liberty with his blessing, I hope, to change the wording a bit. For those of you who are familiar with the quote, you'll understand where the change is. The ultimate measure of our brothers and sisters is not where we stand in moments of moments of convenience and comfort, but where we stand in times of challenge and controversy. I stuttered over that. I want to say that one again because that didn't come out right. Even though I did get an amen, thank you, Jackie Wallace. The ultimate measure of our brothers and sisters is not where we stand in moments of convenience and comfort, but where we stand at times of challenge and controversy. Do I have a true education? Does this element of purpose exist in the body of my character? In total, do I possess intelligence plus character, built upon love, humanity, and purpose? If your answer is no, or I'm not sure, of once in a while, or kind of, as they say, you better ask somebody. If your answer is yes, then you are living the legacy of Dr. King and all of those who worked with him to bring peace and justice to this world. Today, we are recognizing the achievements of some students who I see as gifts to our community and our world. I already feel these students can answer yes to that question with ease. My message to you, students, is that you and your talents are needed more than ever in this world, given its current state of affairs. You are intelligent? Absolutely yes. I ask you that you combine that intelligence with your strong and beautiful character to promote love, humanity, and purpose, and leave your own legacy for others to emulate. Again, my thanks to the committee for this invitation to speak before you on this special occasion, and of course, in legacy to Dr. Martin Luther King. That's the reason we're here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. And I want to build off of something that you said about standing on the shoulders of those who came before. Let's take a moment and rise if you can. Let's think about all of those folks from our community who over so many years worked with us, beside us, and set an example to help create a fair and equitable society. So please rise and call out the names of people that you remember in your hearts, who you work with, who are here in spirit. All of them.
Justin O'Connor. Chuck Turner.
Ray Allen.
Brian McNamara. Robert Forward. Gloria Wood.
Patty O'Neill. Frederick Douglass O'Neill.
Norma Jean. Ray Elliott.
Ruthie Goodwin.
Bill Morris.
Judy Brooks. Susan DaCosta. Robin McCoskey.
Thank you for remembering these people and speaking their names out loud. And let's also bear in our minds and our hearts those who had no one here to speak their names, although they spent their lives fighting for social justice as well. And so let's call forward the Amherst Gospel Choir to celebrate their memories and their spirits, and celebrate our being here together with some more song.
Today, we often sing as about God. We'll say God. And we, as a choir here, have members who are atheists and agnostics because we go for your highest moral thing. It doesn't have to be, some of us are like, I'm down with Jesus, because Jesus was a rebel. But I want to say, we sing because we want to rest upon the shoulders of our elders who had a faith that helped them through everything. So they said, we just can't stop now, no matter what. So whether you believe in God or your highest moral principles, sing in your hearts with us as our young people lead us today. We can't give up now.
Can't give up now. I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Can't give up now. I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Can't give up now. I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Can't give up now. I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
And you know, we want to thank Mother God. We want to thank our Mother God because we have come this far, and we're going to go on. We're stopping today. Oh no, we can rest. We ain't stopping.
Thank you very much for that beautiful music, and thanks for all the work that you put in to make sure that you're ready to perform for our community. Two quick thank yous and announcements. We have two new volunteers from Amherst Media who are recording and producing this show to share with the rest of the community. Thank you for being here. Thanks also to the guy who's keeping the sound working. Thank you. Waste not, want not. There was a lot of good food there this morning, too much for us to all eat in one meal. So there's food outside the auditorium. Please take some as you leave. We don't want to waste any of the food. And now we're going to bring Richmond forward, who is going to present the 3 awards and scholarships to our award winners this year. Richmond.
Thank you very much. And since this is a great part of our program, I'll ask for the help of our state representative, Mindy Dom. So if Mindy, you join me up here. Thank you very much. We have our student scholarship winners, and as it is with every year, we have so many applicants to select from. And those that we award the scholarship really do deserve it. But before I go ahead, I'd like us to give an applause to all the teachers in our school district, the teachers in the high school, and those who nominate these. Thank you. When the students are called here, they will address the audience and you will have a taste of some of the reasons why they were selected as winners. This certificate is presented to Isabella Shepherd from Amherst Regional High School.
Did not expect to go first. That's okay. I wanted to say thank you to Lisa Zephyr, my guidance counselor, and Chantal Brigham McMillan for nominating me, and my parents for their love and support, and all the family who came to see me, who has always supported me. Thank you, and thank you all for coming. Okay, so. I am African American, Brazilian, Italian, Irish, and Portuguese. I have spent a lot of time outside of the States. I've seen what actual poverty and real corruption looks like and what it does to people. It has made me grateful for my opportunities. Even being bullied brought out my good traits. I now stand up for myself and others. My skin is tough, and my anger and gratitude bring along a fierce motivation to do well in all aspects of my life. My experience has led me to care about social justice, social transformation, peace, education, nonviolence, reconciliation, and growth as a leader. In the words of the great Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Thank you very much for applauding. In fact, we designed this so that they walk all the way here in order to amplify the applause to show how we celebrate these young ones. From Belchertown High School, Justin White.
So I'm going to apologize in advance, mine's a little long, sorry. But I want to start off with a story from my experience in second grade. So in second grade, I was excited for my days at school. And one day, to my surprise, my teacher called me to class and called my class to the library. And after a few minutes, she announced we would be reading about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. After reading about Dr. King, she posed the question, has anybody heard from his famous speech, I Have a Dream? After explaining the speech and reading it to us, she posed the question, "What is your dream?" At the time, not knowing anything else and trying to be a little bit funny, I said, "I want to go to the sky." At this time, and the senior year, I realized my dream has changed dramatically. When I think of Dr. King, I observe his ability to be selfless and open-minded. Dr. King had the utmost respect for others no matter what their situation is in life or where they came from. These attributes of Dr. King are what I strive for every day. Dr. King once said, "There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but he must take it because his conscience tells him it is right." Leading a group of people can only be done if one knows how to lead themselves. But by these, I strive to make myself a better leader through the inspiration and memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., following his example of taking the position that is right, whether it brings no matter the effect. I plan to make this my life to not only aid my local community in our effort to break down our society's flawed walls and stereotypes, but to represent the need of change all over the world through my future desire in international diplomacy. I want to thank everyone who has helped me blossom into the person I am today. To my friends who have helped me through the struggles and laughs of my victories. To my teachers, for the educators that enlightenment they have and still instill in me every day. And to my amazing parents, for them dealing with my ups and downs, my problems and questions, and my endless rambling in other languages while walking around my house. With these people in my life, my story would have been dramatically different. Thank you so much.
From Ames Regional High School, Artie Lambert.
Hello, I'm Artie, so nicely introduced. I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank Ms. Mucci Ramos, my guidance counselor, for nominating me, as well as Charlotte Doyle, owner of Pineapple Dance Studio, and my wonderful dance teacher. I'd like to thank my family for their endless support through my rants and many stressful moments, and as well as the ARHS community, without which I would not be where I am today. Thank you. My interest and passion for social justice and advocacy began when I first learned about Dr. Martin Luther King and his contributions to the civil rights movement. As I matured and learned how people were discriminated against and oppressed based on their marginalized identities, I realized that I have a role to play in making the positive change I want to see in my new world. I want to be an advocate for those who have had their voices stolen and work alongside those tearing down the walls of injustice. One of my first opportunities to engage in social justice work occurred when I attended the ACLU Summer Advocacy Institute. Throughout this program, we were taught how to strategically organize a grassroots campaign, gain members and support from local officials, and engage the group our campaign was aimed at. It was there that I made lifelong friends and with people who encouraged me to make the change I wanted to see in my community. Learning in a diverse environment was impactful, being surrounded by people who shared similar experiences, but also experiences quite different than mine. This forced me to step outside my comfort zone, challenge assumptions, and find common ground. I felt that I truly belonged to a community, and it was at last free to express my multiracial identity in an academic space. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for being here today and hope that the spirit that is being felt in this room today carries us through this week, month, and through the whole year until we gather here again next year to remind each other of the value of this work and commitment that we share to make this a fairer and more open and transparent world. Thank you.
Actually, I think that I am the double substitute this year. I got an email from Richmond on Tuesday night that, okay, can you do evocation and the benediction on Saturday? So can I assume that I have 40 minutes now? So we all know that we are in a very challenging world. And let me tell you a short story. When metal was the first invented, all the trees in the world shook with fear. Then a thoughtful tree said, nothing to fear. Unless we become its handler, the metal cannot harm us. May God bless our being together and working together to realize God's peace and justice with our hands and feet. Amen.
You are dismissed. And don't forget there's food